Hey there, what's up, West Michigan? Meteorologist Will Haenni here, coming to you live on Facebook. Simultaneously, we're also on YouTube. Trying to bring back the YouTube live streams. I'm going to let this grow for just a few seconds. The anticipation building over all that we're going to touch on. Lots to cover tonight, despite the fact that our forecast is kind of quiet. I'm going to bring you some information on how you can check out the total lunar eclipse, which happens later this week. And then also we're going to look ahead to a windy and perhaps wet weather maker on the way for Saturday, and some of the implications of that for the Irish American Parade in downtown Kalamazoo, which I'm hoping to attend. All right, give me just 1 second, and then we will get started. All right. I didn't freeze. I'm just sharing this out really quickly. All right. So let me know where you're watching from, and hopefully everyone enjoyed today's beautiful weather. I was joking earlier that us meteorologists are pretty popular on days like today. I had a dentist appointment earlier. Shout out to Dr. Raingrass. And the receptionist and even another patient in there. I felt like, man, this is nice. Everyone was very happy with the meteorologist, but it doesn't always go that way. Sometimes we get a lot of flack as well, which is, we don't control the weather, but I'll take the popularity when I get it. All right, temperatures right now in the middle to upper 50s. We have clear skies overhead. Today was officially the first 60s of 2025. And temperatures overperformed by several degrees. So we had a high of 66 in Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, Marshall as well. 67 was the warm spot in Benton Harbor and Three Rivers. The only spot that did not see 60s, unfortunately, is up in Muskegon, thanks to a little bit of kind of lake-cooled water or lake-cooled air coming off of the water. And we weren't the only ones enjoying the lovely weather. I thought these were some cute photos. Not sure the name on this guy. This is Becky Braun's pup in Matawan, and then this is Corey Sargent out at Wolf Lake Fish Hatchery with her two pups. What were their names? Elton and Chip. Elton, the lab, Chip, the little papillon. So just thought those were too cute not to share. And you can always send us your weather photos, your cute animal photos to WWMT.com/chime in. All right, so here's where we're heading. Today we hit a high of 66. Tomorrow and Wednesday we are cooler. But still fairly tame for early to mid-March. You know, obviously this is the time of year where we start to see the sort of weather that we're seeing. Not uncommon that this is kind of like the first shot of real spring weather. Just keep in the back of your mind that while we're trending well above average, I think through probably the end of March, it's not unheard of that we may still see some snow or something like that in early April. Historically, I think we average about an inch or two during the month of April. But as we get later and later in the season, it gets harder and harder to see those, big time accumulations. It's not that they can't happen, but it's just harder and harder as we get later in the season. So yeah, we're going to cool off a little bit tomorrow and Wednesday, but just keep in mind our average highs right now are in the lower to mid 40s. So that's still, like I said, not too bad. Largely in the week ahead, things are pretty quiet, which we'll get to. The only thing I do want to mention is the wind gusts. They will pick up a little bit tonight through early tomorrow. And so we may have some gusts around 20. It's not going to be enough to really cause much concern, but just it might be a little breezy at the morning bus stop tomorrow. And so when you factor that in, it may feel a little bit chillier than it did today, certainly. Here's where we're heading, though, as far as the overall temperature trend in the next 5 days. You can see we're in the 50s and then 60s and then eventually 70 on Friday. Your eyes are not deceiving you. That is a 70 in the forecast. Our first 70 is what we're expecting on Friday, ahead of a weather maker on the way this weekend, which we'll touch on momentarily. Shannon, was a beautiful day. Happy Monday, Mikey. Everyone and Jeff, Jaden in Matawan. What's up? Damien. Good evening. You too, sir. Mikey, Grand Rapids in the house. We appreciate that. What's up, Mikey? And Damien's in Bronson. What's up? Oh, Mikey. He said, my bad, Will. I know it is funny. Sometimes people, Mikey, you're not alone. It's easy to mix us all up. You hop on here and you're used to seeing the different faces on here, so it's always kind of funny. Hello, Ken in Kalamazoo County, and then Marissa, beautiful weather, pretty sunset tonight. It was. I'm going to go check our chime in page right after this and try and get a few of the sunset photos because I'm sure there's some in there on our newscast. Picked a great weather week to take a staycation. Heck yeah, you did, Jenny. Who needs Florida? Keith, come on. Keith's down in Florida right now, so we're rubbing it in that he's missing this nice weather. Good evening in Vicksburg, says Jesse, or from Vicksburg. We appreciate that, Jesse. And false spring now, round 2 winter about to hit. I know, Marissa, that does seem to be sometimes how it works. Now, I will say we're going to get a little chillier on Sunday. It'll be kind of a windy and chilly day on Sunday, but I don't see any earth-shattering cold or like any significant cold air outbreak, anything like that. And most of the climate weather prediction centers long-range forecasts are showing above average leanings pretty much through the end of March. But like I was saying earlier, like April still can be a curveball. You can still get snow in early to mid-April. Now, late April, it can still snow. It can even snow in May, but it's just like I was saying, it's harder and harder for that snow to really actually stick that late in the season. All right, it's all good, Mikey. I don't take offense. Sammy, hello in Dowagiac. What's up? Oh, you're 5? Your name's Mariah. You must be watching with your mom. That's kind of cool. What's up, Mariah? 5 years old. Little weather junkie in the making. I love it. Jesse, is it going to be 72 on Friday? I think it'll be 70. Unless maybe you're in like Three Rivers, Jesse. Hello in Coldwater. Okay, I got to stop because I have so much to talk about and not enough time. Okay, so not only are we talking about a really nice weather week ahead, but we're also talking about the full worm blood moon. I know, crazy / total lunar eclipse. You've probably seen some headlines calling it the full worm blood moon, the worm blood moon, the blood worm moon. Don't worry. This does not mean that worms are going to start spilling out of the moon's crust and we're going to see the end of days. That is not what this means. The worm moon is just the full moon in March. Let's break this down. Let's break down this name, okay? Worm moon is just the March full moon. It gets its name because this is when worms, grubs, all those good uns start squirming in the soil, traditionally. At least so I'm told. That's where it gets the name. Then you got the blood moon. The blood moon. It rises. Okay. Blood moon sounds very scary. But it's just the name referred to what happens during a total lunar eclipse. So it's a lunar eclipse this Friday. And we're going to explain kind of what the science is behind this and how often they happen and all that. Here's the deal, though. It's going to be an early riser's treat or a middle of the night alarm treat. So if you see there at the very bottom, full eclipses from 2:26 to 3:31 a.m. By the way, those times are Eastern, but pretty much all of North America, most of South America sees this eclipse. Unlike a total solar eclipse where totality is literally the shadow of the moon racing across the Earth's surface, where that is to say one location has these specific times for totality and then totality happens like an hour later somewhere else. A lunar eclipse, everyone sees it at the exact same time because from the night side of the moon, we're all looking, or from the night side of Earth, we're all looking at the moon, and the moon for us humans on Earth. If I'm in Michigan, the moon is still going to look the same. It might be at a little different point in the sky, but it's going to look the same at that exact moment as someone in like Florida. So that's why a lunar eclipse, those times are universal for Eastern time. Now, if you're in Central time, not that I don't think anyone is watching this, but if you're in Central time, just bump those times up an hour is what I'm saying. Okay? Get what I'm saying? Hopefully. Okay. So just kind of breaking it down, this is what we don't want. We don't want partly to mostly cloudy skies, which I'm leaning kind of partly cloudy right now in the forecast. That sounds wishy-washy, but I genuinely believe we'll have a mix of clouds and stars. So obviously you want clear skies. That would be ideal. But I think we may have some clouds in the mix. Let's hope it trends maybe the opposite direction. I don't want it to trend more overcast, but right now I'm kind of right on the cusp between partly to mostly cloudy, which isn't great. I won't say it's a complete washout yet, but we're going to hope that it trends a little less cloudy. So here's how a lunar eclipse happens, just to refresh your like 6th grade science class. Happens when the Earth, the moon, and the sun are in perfect alignment. They can only happen during a full moon. The moon's orbit is not perfectly like horizontal. It's at a slight angle. And so for that reason, if it was perfect, flat, where every month this alignment happened, then we would have a total solar eclipse every month, but we don't. So that's something just kind of interesting. They happen on average for any given location in the world. So like for Kalamazoo, if you were to look at the long range, on average, it's like 2 to 2.5 years. But lunar eclipses happen, I don't know the exact number or the exact average, but there's a lunar eclipse at least like once or twice a year, I believe. Like there was one earlier this year, actually, or like in 2024, there was actually 2. There was a total one and a partial one. So they happen quite a bit. They're not as rare by any means as a total solar eclipse, which I won't go down that tangent. But the reason why in a total lunar eclipse you get that reddish tint is because when you think about it, there's still a little light from the moon's perspective creeping around the Earth, but it's just being scattered by the Earth's atmosphere. So the light that is still reaching the Earth has gone through the filtering, if you will, of the Earth's atmosphere. And so with that, it scatters out blue light. That may sound remnant of sunrises and sunsets. When you think about it, when the sun is lower in the sky, that's why a sunset is red or has those like lovely colors that we enjoy here on Earth, right? The reason for that is because the sun's rays are passing through more of the atmosphere. So more molecules, more gases in the atmosphere, and that is scattering out some of the blue light that we see when the sun is up in the day. Okay, so the same principle, the same physics are happening, but there's just a little light kind of like creeping around the Earth, and so the moon gets that reddish tint. So if you were on the moon, it would look pretty cool. You'd have a solar eclipse on the moon, which is confusing. So we won't go there, but it would look really cool. So that's how an eclipse happens. And here's just, again, the timing, just to kind of go through it all. So it's dark and early Friday. There's something called a penumbra and an umbra. Same thing. You probably heard those phrases us use with the total solar eclipse. Penumbra is that outermost shadow. It's just kind of like a slight darkening. The umbra is the darker shadow of the Earth moving its way across the moon's surface. So the partial eclipse begins at 1:09. That's where you're actually going to see the moon. That part is actually pretty cool too. So you'll actually see it'll go from a full moon, like a normal moon, and then all of a sudden throughout about an hour, you'll see the shadow of the Earth just kind of like eat up the moon. And that part is actually kind of dramatic as well, especially like about halfway through. So closer to like 2 a.m., you'll see the real curvature of the Earth across the face of the moon, which is kind of cool. It's more curved than a typical like crescent moon. So kind of neat. The total eclipse begins at 2:26, and that's where you're going to get the full-on red effect. It will continue to darken. What's interesting is it's actually, I think, prettiest right as totality is beginning and ending, because the light isn't as dark, if that makes sense. So you're in a lighter part of the shadow, and so it's like a little bit more vibrant of a red, whereas during max totality, it's a really dark red, because it's like a darker light that you're kind of in, or it's a darker part of the shadow. Hard to explain. But yeah, I would say if you're going to try and look, like try right around the totality beginning or ending, but it's going to be cool throughout the night. And it kind of does, like the hue of red darkens and changes just a little bit. It's like this reddish orange color. So it's just really something cool. And, they don't happen all that often. The next one, though, you do see See, this is what I was saying. They're a lot more common. We'll actually have another one less than a year from now on March 3rd. But this one is arguably better because that one will happen really early in the morning, so like right around 6 a.m. And we'll only have about an hour's worth, if that. I'd have to look at it closer, but I think we might only have like an hour and a half of an opportunity, and the moon will be really low in the sky, which for photography purposes could be better. But I digress. Let's just focus really quickly. I know that was a lot. I'm doing well, Cassie. How you doing? HYD, how you doing? The end of the week is going to be very warm. In fact, I think we'll make a run at 70 degrees. This area of low pressure is going to lift out of the Rockies and really strengthen as well. Now, I will say some of the trends on this don't look quite as impressive for us specifically as they were maybe yesterday or the day before. Still think we're going to see a lot of wind out of the system. I still think we're going to see some rain, but the timing could be a little bit delayed. So closer to maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, an initial round of rain lifts through. May have some embedded thunderstorms within that, but I overall think our chances for thunder or severe weather are looking a little less likely than they were even yesterday. I still have a low confidence that we could see a low severe threat. That would be on Saturday, probably in the morning. And that overall also helps our chances of it not being a significant event, just the timing. If conditions were peaking in the afternoon or evening, we'd be a little bit more worried. But overall, I think the chances of severe for us are pretty low. Now, I will say the Storm Prediction Center, I just combined 2 NOAA offices, funny enough. I'll show you guys really quickly if I can, and then I got to run. Let's pull this up. See what they're doing for their day 5 outlook, if I may. All right. So I forgot to close the door. I don't know if you guys just heard that big old bang. So here is the day 5 Storm Prediction Center's outlook. That wasn't it. That's it. So the Storm Prediction Center, if you didn't know, that is a branch of the National Weather Service. And they are based in Norman, Oklahoma. They are considered some of the leading experts in severe weather forecasting in the world, basically. So some of the brightest minds when it comes to severe weather. And this is their day 5 outlook. So they're already kind of issuing this 15/30% chance down here. The 15 is this yellow. Orange is 30% chance of severe thunderstorms or severe convective weather. And this would be for Friday. The fact that there's a 15 even in our region definitely is something we're paying attention to, because if there's a 15%, maybe a slight or a moderate risk farther south, then we could be maybe on the edge of maybe a low end risk. It's not out of the question. We could be maybe under our first low risk of severe weather for the season. I don't want you to panic or anything like that, certainly here in Michigan. Now, if you're down in like Missouri, South Central Missouri, Arkansas, I think Friday is looking a little bit more impactful for sure, but they're also more used to that this time of year. This is really where their severe weather season typically starts to ramp up. All right, I got to run. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out, though, for a little bit. Let me turn this off, and then I'll show you the 7-day really quickly so you can get a feel. So, yeah, not too bad these next couple days. It'll be a little cooler. I feel a sneeze coming on. That's a first. I don't know if I've ever sneezed on Facebook Live. I've never sneezed on TV, weirdly. I don't know why that is. Thursday into Friday. Now I'll sneeze tonight. Thursday into Friday is when that lunar eclipse happens. Again, like 2-ish in the morning, 2 to 3-ish in the morning. So if you want to partake, you got to set an alarm. And then Friday through the weekend is going to be windy. Saturday, I think, is our best chance of rain and rumbles, especially in the morning, which is not great news for the Irish American Parade in Kalamazoo. I'm fingers crossed the rain blows out quick enough. Even if that happens, though, it's going to be really windy, like gusts probably 40 plus miles an hour throughout much of the day on Saturday, and then maybe even into Sunday as well. So that's going to be an element that we have to watch. Marissa, we are on at 10 on the arc. And with that, I need to wrap up because it's 6 minutes away. I know you're probably like panicked for me. You're probably like, don't you need to like go do your real job? This is my real job too, though, but my TV job. And all right, I am going to sign off. Be on the lookout, by the way. We're going to have a severe weather special airing in early April. I don't want to say a date just yet because I don't know if it's official, but be on the lookout for that. We're already putting some content together we're excited about. And then we're also going to air a special for the 1-year anniversary of the Portage / St. Joseph County tornadoes of May 7th. And those weren't the only two. There were 2 others. So yeah, we're going to have a special on that as well. So some exciting things coming up in the weather world here at News Channel 3. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We appreciate your trust. So we'll keep you updated, and I'll be off the next couple of days. It'll be Colin the next 2 days, and then I'll be back because Keith's on vacation. That dog. All right, I'll see you guys later.